Honestly, most people, they don't really know what they're doing. They understand the concept. Like we understand the concept of a good business model, but this is just theory. Like there isn't a blueprint that says this is how you scale a business. This is how you make it to 1 million. This is how you make it to 1 billion. Like we are literally playing. We are theorizing. We're understanding principles, and then we're just using consistency to make it happen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So right there is a really important point that I just keep hearing over and over and over again from thought leaders who are putting one foot in front of the other and solving some of the world's biggest problems. It's the consistency thing.
Yeah.
Is they do keep putting one foot in front of the other. On the mornings they wake up and they can't see where to put the next step. They put it somewhere. They just do. And then they see what's there. And that's back to your, that's right.
Right. So if you do put that foot in front of you, and then you stumble, okay, note it, realize what went wrong there, go back and then adjust and try again. And I don't know if this is appropriate time to bring it up. We were talking about books. So one of the books that ties in perfectly to what we're talking about here is a new one for us. It's called Traction. Now there's many other books like it. This just is another in that realm, but Traction has been amazing as far as laying out a blueprint, not on how to start and run a business, but how to make sure you're staying on track with what you think is the thing you want to do, right? And it's very actionable. It has activity sheets and charts and all these things to kind of help you continue to put one foot in front of the other. So I think that's a great resource for any.
And to your point, about showing up, sometimes that's the only thing you can do. Sometimes you have no idea what to do next, and you just have to show up at a meeting or some kind of a group thing, and you just never know who's going to be sitting there next to you, and swap stories. And before long, then you have your story of meeting your partner, your business partner.
Yeah.
I mean, what you probably had other things to do that night. You could have done something different with that. Almost all the social entrepreneurs I interview have a story of serendipity where if they hadn't gone to this thing or that, the whole world would be different for them.
Absolutely.
It really is. Like if you think about consistency, honestly, is like one of the biggest things I hear any entrepreneur talk about. Is like if you just stay consistent, you will go so far. Versus keep stopping. And I'm like, I tell people like, don't stop. Just keep failing forward, and you're going to get it. But I see so many people who have stopped, and I'm like, man, that was a good idea. And then if they would have kept going, it's like, oh man, like now I see someone else who's doing it, but they stay consistent the whole time. So
yeah. Please feel free to share books, podcasts, episodes, and any, videos that you've come across that are useful to people. I'm going to make sure this book Traction is in the show notes, because I think that we need to make sure that these kind of resources, here's one that I've got right here that I would recommend people. It's called Fix This Next.
Yeah.
Have you run into him? This guy, Mike McAllowitz?
On my list.
I actually read that.
It's something.
Yes. I actually have 2 books. They're not traditional. They're not necessarily about business. Well, the first one is We Should All Be Millionaires. Mm-hmm. That book is amazing, more so for women, but I do recommend men read it. Just if you're reading it, put yourself, every time she says woman, just think like man. Okay. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a
Oh, now I've got that one in my library.
Everyone needs to read.
Okay. Dude, that sounds like something I would give my daughter for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, I reread that maybe once every 2 years, just because I have to remind myself. Like it has so many good principles in it, to remind myself to not take life so seriously. And when you do, you open yourself up to a world of things.
Wow, that's lovely. Great recommendations there. We'll make sure all this is in the show notes for people. So, and direct links. Okay, so tell me, a little bit more about any myths that you see. I love this. Okay, go.
Okay. That you don't need to practice, right? Like I know what I'm doing, don't need to practice. This materialized for us a week ago, well, just over a week ago. We were doing a pitch practice and we had some practice judges in the room that were actually professionals in the industry. One worked for a huge micro lender, one that was part of a creative organization here in the community, and one was a previous student from one of our previous cohorts. She was alumni. And the three of those folks were observing and giving feedback on all of our current cohort, 10 folks, their pitches, right? As we build up towards our capstone event, which is our pitch contest and graduation. So one of the individuals that was pitching might not have wanted to be there and practice it. Didn't seem like, to us anyway, that he was really taking it super seriously and was really prepared to go. But this guy showed up, he did it. And right there on the spot, of two of the three judges, two of them said, yes, I want to engage in investment. One said, I want to put money into this. You just tell me, we'll talk after. How do we do this? And another one said, well, my organization has programming and funding specifically for what you're trying to do. And we want to feed into that. The rest of the class in the back room was like, yeah, it was amazing. It was the actual graduation / pitch competition. And this was just practice. And that was just because he chose to show up, because we'll have different judges that are in place for the actual graduation. So this was the one chance to be in front of those folks. And it wasn't even designed to be that. It was just designed to be feedback. And now there's already engagement since that week ago event where now this person is getting traction that maybe we've gotten it, but it would have been later or whatever. The fact is it's happening now because he showed up, and it was just so exciting. So it was like tears in the room. It was crazy.